Are you still manually inputting data into Excel and then formatting it? If so, let me show you a workflow I actually do at my job that saves me hours a day and possibly 20 plus hours a week in just creating Excel documents and formatting them. Hi, my name is Chase Heit. I'm a data analyst and also a AI subject matter expert. I do videos on my actual workflows at my 9 to 5 job that are practical and short. In this video, I'm going to go over a workflow that I've been doing at work to create Excel documents. In this specific example, I'm going to take 30 years of data. 10 of those years have missing impact metrics. I'm going to use Claude to actually fill those in and make it so it's a position that I can actually defend. In this video, I'll show a lot of different skills with Claude that you could then use for whatever you're working on. It doesn't have to be specifically this. So we'll go ahead and get started. So looking at the data that I'm going to start with, I actually had Claude generate this data because I did not want to use our internal data for this. And so it generated this based on a pretty simple prompt. So that's another great way to use it if you just want to generate sample data, whether you're building out projects or just want to test something, then it's a great way to do it. And then it also gave me the completed set and then also ratios for how I'm going to find those missing years. But for this video, I'm going to want to just focus on that one tab. And so that's what my first prompt was to basically just reduce it down to just that raw data. And so it did that pretty well. It removed all the other tabs. So moving on, the next thing I wanted to do was actually find out how I can calculate this. And that's what you can do with Claude 2, is just explain your problem and just say, can you give me some solutions that make sense? And then you could pause the video to look at the prompt, but this is something I didn't want to spend too much time actually going through each prompt. So after I said that, it gave me pretty much a few questions to answer on what direction I want to go. So I end up answering that. And a lot of those questions came up. If you haven't used prompt before, it gives you multiple choice, usually as it's filling out the output. So I really like that about Claude. So I end up just saying, let's do the ratios and then use 2011, 2012, 2014. And this is just how I calculated the missing data. I'm sure there's other ways out there. So it ran ahead and took all of that into consideration. And then it built me out the actual ratios. And then I also asked in the previous prompt to give me a methodology. So if I were to share this with somebody, they could look and see how I came up with those calculations. So the next thing I did was I wanted it to actually calculate me low, base, and high cases for this data, just to take into account maybe decrease funding, increase programs, stuff like that, just to give me some options and to show what this can do. And so then it gave me again some more questions and I filled out those, and then this is what it gave me. So it ended up staying with the 2, and you can't see it now, but I'll actually download this. So looking at the one it gave me with the low, base, and high, so a few problems kind of stick out. First, this title doesn't cover all of the table. And then also it has M1 graph, which is fine, but I wanted to put it into different tables. And then I also wanted it to show the calculation so I can easily see how they were calculated. So I went ahead and give that prompt. And for any of these prompts, you could pause it just to see how I kind of worded it. So this is what it gave me. And looking at this, it pretty much separated them out into different tabs pretty easily, and then also made a tab for just the calculations and then kept the methodology in and expanded on it. So that's another thing with Claude and Excel, is it's very easy at making edits, and these are things that would take time, like the amount of time you would have to take to copy and paste out those base, low, and high estimates. I did that in probably 3 minutes. And most of the time I run these prompts and then I work on something else while I'm doing it. And my job is just to make sure everything looks good and based on what it gives me, and then give it feedback. So moving down to the last thing that I want to show, it also, another great feature about Claude is it can actually give you tables and trend data. So this is what I did with my actual project is after I did the estimated data, I just wanted to check how does this actually look when we trend out. So what I noticed when I did this a week ago was this table that it gave me was actually RedMap, but now it's actually within the chat. So that's an interesting change, and I do like this more. And then you can make some changes to what's being presented. So this adds on the business starts and stuff like that, and capital formation. So overall, this is my workflow I do, and it's not limited to just this. I also do it with other projects, anything that I have to do with Excel. And one thing that not a lot of people know is you can use a snipping tool or a screenshot of data you have, like say in a CRM, and then just copy and paste it over into Claude, and it will actually read the image and give you that data into Excel, which I think is a huge time saver, because I know a lot of my projects I have to take my data out of like CRM or another location. That just takes time. Also, one thing I've noticed is the data that it actually translates, either you put it in manually, copy and paste, it's been pretty accurate. I haven't had any issues with that. I do double check all the data once I use Claude, just to make sure it works. And then going to the other AI tools like the LLMs, ChatGPT does do this too. It can put it into Excel, but most of the time it doesn't have the same formatting. You could see my last video. And then Gemini, I don't use that too much just because it seems to take a few extra steps just to actually get it into Excel. But overall, the feedback that I have gotten from my coworkers on these Excel documents is most of the time they're amazed. And usually I don't tell them until after. So it's good to hear that response and then just be like, wow, you really went all out on this Excel. So that's it for this video. In my next video, I'm going to take this output and actually create an infographic, which I also did at work. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that using ChatGPT. So stay tuned for that. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, then please like and subscribe. Thank you guys.